So guess what? I bought myself a 3D printer and I'm having great fun with it. I have only had it for 6 days and I'm printing up a storm. So this guy is the little cute dragon that comes with the machine. I got a Snapmaker U1 that's 4 colors. And I may go into the details of it in a later video. But basically, this guy was in the machine, so I didn't have to do any settings or anything. And the machine came with 4 filaments, a red, yellow, black, and white. And so this little guy is just adorable. And he was the first thing I printed. Then I got a little bit more courageous and went to the Snapmaker library where they have canned up to 4 color projects that should work fairly seamlessly on my printer. And this was an Easter egg fidget toy. The base is these darling little Easter bunnies. And it's one of these segmented fidget toys that slides apart and you can see the inside of the egg, the yolk and the white. And it's just something to fiddle with. But fascinating to me, everything's fascinating, is it all printed in one piece. There was absolutely no assembly of any kind required. Maybe I'll get these guys off screen. And then I don't remember the order from then on, so it doesn't matter, but I thought I would try something quick. So I found this little keychain, the chain goes through there, of a balloon dog. And of course that is something that Fubsy used to make, so that's kind of cute. And that only took, I think, maybe 4 minutes to print. So that was kind of neat. I wanted to keep doing things that use the filaments that I had loaded because it's not really tricky to load new filaments, but I hadn't done it yet. And with this project, with this new hobby, I decided to walk a little bit before I just ran. And so I was trying basic things and then adding incremental steps. This is an octagonal pass-through from Maker World, and it is the coolest thing. This goes through that way. I'm reaching around the camera, so. And it goes through this way. And it can come through this way. I just think these are really fascinating. And I had black and white on the printer, so I went ahead and printed that. And that's a fidget toy, and I've been playing with it for quite some time. So then I decided to load a different color. So I loaded Snapmaker Silk Blue and printed this dolphin, and it turned out really pretty. I don't know if you can see the silk effects. I think you can probably. And so I really like that guy. I think I might have increased the size on that from being pretty small to maybe twice as big, and that was from Maker World, I think. I, of course, have created a database so I can keep track of where I got these designs and how long each one takes and that sort of thing. And then as long as I had the satin in there, I loaded a green. So I was so proud of myself that I can actually change colors. It's not really that big a deal. And this guy's kind of a patched together Stegosaurus because he's got little patches where they look like they've been sewn. But again, this guy is articulated, and he printed all in one piece. And he can stand up, and he can lay down. It's just the coolest thing. And this was a Snapmaker one, too, for my machine. So that is just so awesome. I think that's the coolest thing, and I really like that silk. And then, I don't know, as long as I had white, I thought I would try a statue of David. It turned out okay. There's some very fine little hairs on his hair that supposedly a heat gun will get rid of. I haven't tried that yet, but that turned out pretty well. Hard to see the definition being white. And as long as I had the blue and the green, I decided I would try another Snapmaker project, and this is the Sailfin Lizard, I think they called it. He's highly articulated, and this printed in 3 pieces. The tail piece that just snaps together there, the center piece with his legs, and then this head part, or maybe just the head, I think. Yeah, and you had 2 options of heads. One had the teeth showing, and the other kind of didn't, but I kept my green and my blue on that and had a white belly. I think the original one called for a tan belly, but I didn't have tan filament yet. But he moves quite well, and he's really, really cool. I think he might have taken the longest of anything so far. 6 hours maybe to print, but very cool. So then I thought I would try another fidget toy. This one is another Snapmaker one that comes in a set of 5, but I thought I would just try one. They're all pretty similar, concentric circles. They just have different patterns on the outside, and it's just to fidget with, but these concentric circles each turn, which of course, being spatial relations challenged, I just find that fascinating and very cool. And again, that all printed as one piece. And then at some point, just to do a little quick one, I did this articulated frog. This might have been one of my earlier ones, although I did have the blue filament in there, and it's got some little errant filament fibers. But again, I'm going to try the heat gun and see if I can get rid of those. And he's supposed to have a different color mouth, but I couldn't get the file to work. And so I don't know if that's just because I was doing it wrong early on. He's a keychain too, and he wiggles. Or if the file was just something that didn't allow for me choosing all the colors that I wanted. But he's kind of funny. And then I printed up some frogs because I had some green still on there and black. And this little guy I just found, and I thought, oh, let's just try a few. So I decided to do 6 of them. And I think it takes less time doing them together than doing 6 individually. But on my 4-color printer, I'm not sure. It might be the same. I'll have to experiment. But they turned out fun. And they printed fairly quickly, even though they're 2 colors because of the black eyes and the green. But they're just kind of cute. So there's my little frogs. Ribbit, ribbit, ribbit. Then I thought I'd do some baby dinosaurs. So we have this guy. I forget what he is. Darn it. And this guy, I think, is a baby T-Rex. And this guy is a mama T-Rex. And then we have the Flintstones dino guy, Brontosaurus, I think is what they are. He's adorable. And we have a little Stegosaurus. Maybe, is this the Triceratops? Yeah, I think that's a Triceratops. And little Stegosaurus. So again, those were fairly easy to print. Only one color. They don't even have eyes. I mean, the eyes are just hold out. They're not black. And so they print even faster. But those guys are adorable. I'm thinking most of this is adorable. And then by the guy that designed that pass-through octagon, he did a little NASA plane. And it's a pass-through. So the center passes through that way and this way. Again, I'm reaching around the... Come on, well, we'll pass them through this way for right now. It passes through all the ways you would want. Some people print this in orange or yellow, and then it looks more like a flame, which I probably should have done, but I was too lazy to change filaments. And then we've got the green NASA letters, which actually printed separately, and then they just snapped in there. So I just love these pass-throughs. They're the most interesting little fidget thing to me, as you can tell. I'm amused. And then I like that guy's stuff so much. He did this really cool yin and yang fidget toy, and it comes with an optional little tray that's got some nice features. You don't have to have it, and if you don't, this is those kind of fidget toys that these concentric teardrop shapes just kind of move in a zen-like way, and you can fidget with it. When it's flat, it does that, and when it's sitting in the bowl, they collapse and sort of make like a little bowl where you could store things like a dinosaur. But I think this is so cool. However, how they come up with this design, these designs, is just amazingly smart. And so then I did another pass-through by the same guy that designed those other ones. I found the files on Maker World, and this one is a present with a pass-through capability. You know how that works. And these two pass through each other. I can get them to unpass. So let's do green. And this little hidden compartment is where you can roll up like a dollar bill or $20 bill and give to someone. And so that's pretty cool to me. Obviously, these things are all cool to me. As I've said, what, 20 times before, 50 times before. Just very clever. Although, I should redo it again when I have some different colors. I have 17 different colors that I bought because people said to buy lots of filament, but I just haven't opened them all nor changed them all, obviously. So then I tried a Smurf. This is Grouchy Smurf. And he actually printed separately. So the white pieces printed separately, the blue pieces, and then the black of his eyes and his eyebrows, and then they glued together. And getting the whites of his eyes, it's blurry, I don't know why, sorry. Getting the whites of his eyes and the eyebrows glued in was really a pain in the neck, and I don't like. I mean, this is for one color printers that can just change the filament out and then print each piece separately. Kind of, it's pointless having a 4-color printer to do it. but I had to find a Smurf, and they're kind of hard to find that aren't all one color or in pieces like that. But a grouchy Smurf makes me laugh. And then similarly, I found an Incredible Hulk that excuse me, had to be printed separately and then glued together. So you can see some seams. I think there's a way to make those better. Probably didn't glue it as well as I could have. But his hair printed separately and all the green parts and his blue jeans. And in fact, it was interesting. This green and that green and that green and that green printed separately. And then they glued in there. Because when I was looking at it, I was wondering, how are we going to get these pants on him so his legs show through there? And obviously we didn't. But I don't think I like the ones where you have to glue things together. It's kind of a pain, but I wanted to try. And, I thought I had the right colors for that. So not too much can be said about, or not, there's whatever, about being lazy to change colors. So then the pièce de résistance, I thought, okay, I've walked a little bit now, let's run. So I created this guy. He's a gargoyle, and here is a bigger version of him. And the funny thing is I was waiting for 2 days to get some gray filament, because I didn't get some originally with my first order because they were out, because I wanted to print him in gray. And then I finally got the gray filament, and I wanted to print to see if it would work, and I chose white, like an idiot. So I wasted a couple hours of him printing white. But at least I was able to find out then that it works, because there's lots of overhangs. You can see it better on this one. But there's lots of overhangs, like his little beard and even his hand, his wings, of course, where things called supports have to be printed that hold that up, because the printer can't just print in air. And then you have to be able to take them off. But the fun and fascinating thing about this, which is why I'm saying it's my run, not walk, is I completely created this, well, me and AI, myself. What I did was I got into ChatGPT and I gave it textual instructions to create a picture of, because I think, well, it doesn't matter. I was going to say, I think that's all ChatGPT can do is create a picture. I don't think it can do a video or a three-dimensional, but it might be able to. But I did ChatGPT and textual and basically told it to create a gargoyle in a resin-looking statue. And it came back with a really super sinister one, even more sinister than this, in full color, like a photograph. And so I revised the ChatGPT script and said, make it one color, make him less sinister, and make it more 3D. And so it came up with a photo of this, which I will post now in this video. And then I said, okay, ChatGPT, that's great. Show me what he would look like from behind. And so they did another picture of what he would look like from behind with his wings and his back and the spine and the tail. And then I went to this other program called HiTem 3D AI. And your trial version, you've got a few credits where you can just experiment. And so I told it to take these two pictures where I uploaded the front and the back and create a 3D model suitable for printing. And it did. And I downloaded the model, and that's brought it into my what's called the slicer for my program. Changed the size, picked the colors, and printed. And he turned out amazing. And so he's the only one like it in the world. And I think that's just absolutely wild. AI isn't quite there yet for medicine, as we all know from my debacle 2 years ago. But apparently for playing around like this, he is. It is. So that's my fun so far. Here it is, by the way, with the supports that have to be removed.